welcome to Broad Street Hockey YouTube channel. I am your host today, Ryan Gilbert. Joining me is the one and only Steve Jacot, Mr. Fly Burbly. How we doing today, Steve?
What's going on? I am doing better than the Flyers. And I think Philly sports in general, it's just it's been a lousy week in the Philly sports landscape. But,
Yeah.
I was going to say like the sun's shining, it's not, but it's like cold as hell outside. I mean, cold as hell's an oxymoron, but like it's like 20 degrees and like windy. Nothing's good, but I'm in a pretty good mood nonetheless. How about you, my friend? How you doing?
Yeah, I was looking outside. I'm like, oh, maybe I should go for a walk today or something. I opened my door. It's the wind chills in the 20s. It's ridiculous here. Apparently, it's not going to snow tomorrow, though. We're just going to rain in a wintry mix this weekend. So who knows there? Yeah, I'm doing okay, doing better than the Flyers and doing better than I thought I would after an embarrassing loss in Pittsburgh last night. Bad loss in Buffalo, 5 straight losses here. But I'm not ready to panic quite yet. I wrote about that today at broadstreethockey.com. Make sure you go check it out there, read and subscribe there. And but the Flyers, their playoff odds over at our good friends at FanDuel, they have come down quite a bit. I believe they were around plus 120 when I recorded earlier this week with Joe and Jacob. And they are up to, I believe, plus 180, I saw, to make the playoffs at FanDuel Sportsbook. So it's getting up there. It's people are starting to panic. People are starting to get into the same old Flyers. It's 5-game losing streak, but it could be a lot worse, and it feels a lot better than it is somehow. And it's just funny. It's just funny how this came at the exact start of the second half of the season. Their first 41 games closed that out with the Ducks win. First 5 games of the second half, 5 losses here.
Yeah, and I think what doesn't help is like if they had won that Toronto game, I think we'd all feel a little bit differently about this. That was a game they should have won. They let get away from them. That sucked. But if they win that game, they get that extra point. Maybe we're not feeling so bad. But then they just get so outmatched in those Tampa Bay games. And those are games that casuals will see that score and say, yeah, the Flyers just suck. They've just sucked for 15 years, and that's just what they are. But like, if you've been watching, this is not this team. This is not like we're talking about a team that won 2 consecutive games 5-2, one of which was against the Oilers, who have one of the most high-powered offenses in the league. The Ducks have scored a lot of goals this year, so it's like they beat 2 teams that are, can have very good days 5-2, and they should have beaten Toronto. So the back-to-back losses against Tampa Bay sucked, but they were like exceptionally bad between the injuries the Flyers had, the hot streak Tampa Bay's on. That makes everything seem worse. And then to come back, and Buffalo's been hot too. And Buffalo's a team that you just assume they always suck, right? Because they're the Buffalo Sabres. And they did suck. They sucked until they played the Flyers. They played the first period of that Flyers game. They were abysmal. And then the joke I made on PHLY was that they saw John Tortorella at intermission, and that John Tortorella, just the sight of that, thinking about him as the coach, was inspiring enough for them to rally and turn that game around. And it looks like they've turned their entire season around, because it makes 0 sense to change a GM and change your season around based on that. But to be terrified of having a notorious hard-ass coach coming in and changing your season based on that checks out to me. I'm running with it. They've been unbelievable since then. And then Pittsburgh, I mean, you want to talk about, you're coming on a back-to-back road game against a fierce rival that always does well against you. Sidney Crosby's points against the Flyers are just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. So that always feels bad. And you got whooped in that game. Like, it looks like 6-3 is closer than it was. They might as well have lost that game 10-0.
Yeah. It's been just a storm of the worst possible events for the Flyers. They get those injuries in the Ducks game. Like you said, that Leafs game, they really needed to win that one with the power play chances, the 5-on-3. And Scott Laughton, of course, gets the dagger, and then they win it in overtime. And yeah, the Lightning, they're easily the best team in the Eastern Conference, even without Victor Hedman, even without Braden Point now. Like, they're elite in the Eastern Conference. They're the top team. So yeah, like you said, you see those two bad losses. You're like, oh my God, Flyers! Here come the Flyers. You know, they did this a few years ago, where they had a good first half and then just faded in the second half. And you got the injuries to Drysdale and Brink, and Konechny missed a game. Then you have the Sam Ersson of it all. The Sam Ersson who last night got pulled after the Flyers scored a goal, after giving up not a horrible goal for the Penguins' third one, but it definitely was one you want to have back. What did you make of that? Because like I thought maybe the Flyers were distracted by a potential offside challenge because Drysdale put his arm up instead of playing defense ahead of that goal. Kevin Weeks said on the broadcast that he saw Tocchet go down to Yogi and say something before the Flyers scored, so maybe he had already decided on it, no matter what happened. But it was just a very weird, unusual, unique goalie pull that I can't remember ever seeing before.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. And it's got to be something that we don't know about, right? Like, it's got to be something that the coaches talked about that, like, they know all the inside dirt on, but they're not willing to spill the tea with us here. And it's frustrating from a fan perspective and from a media perspective, because I want to know why they pulled him. Because, like, if you're going to survive, and do we know what the ETA on Vladar coming back at this point is?
I saw a report from Jordan Hall today that said Vladar is day to day, but he is not an option on Saturday. So hopefully for the road trip next week, which is a big one in Vegas, Utah, and Colorado. Three big boys out there.
Well, that's a big factor if you're somebody who follows the Flyers like we do, when you're looking at the playoff odds for this team and thinking about like how catastrophic this could be. This next week could be catastrophic for this team, because they probably, out of those 3 games, my expectation is the only one they really should come away with 2 points in is the Utah game. So
Utah's good too. Utah's a good team.
Utah and the Flyers have almost the same record.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
It's more not like, basically, like, if the team is going to mount up, Rough Riders mount up and win a game, it's going to be that one. Like, they gotta win. I'd say if there's 2 must-win games over the next week and a half, it's the Rangers game and the Utah game, because I don't feel good about the Vegas game. They're number 1 in their division. And Colorado, I mean, if you're following hockey this year, and I assume if you're watching this podcast or video, you're following hockey, Colorado's unbelievable this year. They are 33, 4, and 8. They only have 4 regulation losses, 74 points. They're the best team in the league by 11 points. It's unreal how good the Colorado Avalanche are. So I expect them to not get any points in that game, to come away. Vegas, maybe you take them to overtime, but they're just not playing great right now. Like, it seemed like the offense was doing pretty good after they hung up 5 on the Ducks and the Oilers, and the Ducks, they really took it to them, even with Gauthier. But then not being able to do anything against the Leafs was super disappointing. Only getting 2 goals in that game, or only getting 1 goal in that game, it really sucked. And then, the Lightning, whatever. But like, I wish they had scored more against the Sabres and the Penguins, especially the Penguins with Stuart Skinner and everything. I don't know about you, but I took the over in that game, and it wasn't quite sweating it out, but I would have thought that the Flyers would contribute more to the over than they did in that game. But I want to see the offense do more. And the defense was really, though, the big thing through the first couple months of the season, the defense and the goaltending. And it's basically dead right now. Missing Drysdale for 2 games, or a couple games, sucked. But like, Ristolainen was back. Ristolainen's hurt again. Vladar, even before getting hurt, just was not the same wall that he was for the first. And there's a lot of concern about Vladar right now, because he's never had this many starts in his career. So there's a lot of concern out there, and it's all very warranted.
Yeah, there's absolutely reason for concern. That road trip, I'm not expecting more than, if they get 2 points on that road trip, I'm happy. Like, maybe they get a win. Agreed. Maybe they're going to win in Utah, but Vegas is rolling now with Eichel back. Colorado doesn't have a regulation loss at home this season. But the big game is against the Rangers. But yeah, before we get to that, I think looking at the Flyers' recent games, the big issue is offense. And also the big issue is, like, yeah, you look at these scores, 5-2, 5-1, 7-2. They're blowout losses, and like, only for small portions of that game did you even like the effort or the fight that they put in? Like that second game against the Lightning, they had the multiple fights, literally. We got Michkov's first fight last night, but like the effort just has not been there. And we finally got Tocchet shuffling up the lines a little bit last night, separating Dvorak and Zegras. Getting Michkov and Barkey together on a line with Couturier has looked good there. That they combined for a goal. Michkov got a goal in the third period. Barkey set up Sealer for a goal as well to help out there. But yeah, Stu Skinner, he's been good in Pittsburgh. One goal in each of his 4 games before the game against the Flyers. But it's just the shots on goal as well. Against the Ducks, they had 39. Against the Oilers, 29. 26 in Calgary even. 33 in Seattle. 33 in Vancouver. But these past 5 games, 23, 20, 21, 22. And last night they got 30, but that's just score effects there. And they were the better team in the second period. They just couldn't convert on any of those chances. And that's the big thing is Rick Tocchet wants to play low event hockey, but the Flyers don't have the high end skill to take advantage of those chances. So that's the frustrating thing right now is like, okay, like where is the blame right now? If anywhere, or is it just like, okay, you ran into a great Lightning team with injuries. The Sabres are hot. You're hurt. And Pittsburgh on a back-to-back, you're not winning a back-to-back there. So it's like, I want to get down on this team, but looking ahead, the big game is tomorrow. Less than 24 hours, we will know how to feel about this team. If they beat the Rangers, I'm like, okay, they can right the ship here a little bit. If they lose to the Rangers, that's 6 in a row. That road trip makes it 9. Then they come home and host the Islanders, who have been very good. Ilya Sorokin, now the Vezina Trophy favorite, for a potential 10-game losing streak. Like, this could snowball very quickly.
It could snowball super quick. And yeah, they got to win this Rangers game. It's just super important. The Rangers actually threw up the white flag earlier today, which is wild to think about when you look at the standings, when you look at how close everything is in the East. For a team to come out and say, yeah, I don't think this is the year. I mean, the Rangers, granted, are in last place, but you know what last place is in the Eastern Conference? Last place is currently 10 points out of a wild card spot. Last place ain't nothing. Last place ain't shit. So it must be pretty bad if Chris Drury's looking at all this and he has to just throw a letter out saying, hey, season ticket holders, it ain't it. This ain't the year. He's got to be prepared to sell right now. And I mean, this is a team that's like, they're on the ropes. They're not doing good. They're 2-6-2 in their last 10. They've lost 4 in a row. This is a must win for the Flyers. If this is a team that wants to have the grit and determination and everything to make the playoffs, like this is a game that you have to come out and just kick ass in. And like, it also, you need to get, I think, the confidence back in the locker room. You know, this losing streak right now, I think getting walloped by the Lightning really did a number on them. And again, they were down a couple guys in those games. Like, they were not at full strength. Yeah. So it was not ideal, but I would have liked for them to have won one of either the Sabres or the Penguins games. And losing both of those in the fashion they did really just has us down in the dumps right now. Like the Lightning games, I don't think they were ever going to win those because the Lightning are just too good. Yeah. But if they'd won one of those 2, it would have been good. And then, yeah, you got to win the Rangers game. And I'd say you have to find a way to get 2 points out of those 3 games next week. Because the week after, like, you do have the Islanders who have been good, but you also have the Blue Jackets, you have the Bruins, and you have the Kings. So there are winnable games that last week. If you can go in to the Olympic break in a couple points of the playoff spot,
they have 10 games left before the Olympic break there.
Yeah. And if you can go into it, so if I'm looking at the standings right now, the wild card spots are currently the Sabres and the Bruins. The Penguins are in the 3rd spot in the Metro. The Flyers are sitting at 4 points out of a wild card spot and 2 points out of the 3rd spot in the Metro. And the Flyers have the same amount of games played as the Penguins. They got 2 in hand with the Bruins, same amount played as the Sabres. So like, they're in the wheelhouse still. Like, they fell. They were pretty firmly in 3rd for a while, but like, they fell and they need to dust themselves off and get back up, because this is a crucial section right here. Like, this is really just tough sledding, but is this a tough team? Is this a team that makes the playoffs? Or is this a team of like, I don't want to call them losers because it is a team that's retooling still. It's very much still in the rebuild. And I think we keep forgetting that because like they did so well for the first couple months. But yeah, I mean, to me, it really feels like they've hit a wall in a lot of ways. And it's the injuries are catching up. I think the bad power play has been a huge factor. And it started pretty good. Like, was it all Tyson Forrester? It must have been.
It may have been. I think he's still second or third on the team with 3 power play goals. The Eastern Conference, the playoff race is going to come down to the wire. You got so many teams in a playoff spot that probably shouldn't be. Like, are the Sabres this good? Are the Bruins this good?
No.
Are the Flyers as good as they've been? This is the real first time they faced adversity. They had the big win in Edmonton, came home, got the big emotional win over the Ducks, and just such a huge letdown after that game. Seeing Brink get hurt, seeing Drysdale get hurt, and losing that game against Scott Lawton, him scoring the tying goal, and then being injured and getting blown out by the best team in the conference. Like, that's gonna get you down, and this is where you have to see Rick Tocchet rally the guys. Like, this is a time when Rick Tocchet systems, okay, they learned their systems now. Let's get this going. Let's find some combinations that work. Let's grind this out. Let's get some wins here. And it has to start on Saturday against the Rangers. No Shesterkin. Fox is hurt. They still have Mika Zibanejad. So he's going to torment the Flyers. And like, that timing of the letter by Drury is not good for the Flyers, because like, you have to think the veterans there, Miller, Zibanejad, Panarin, all these guys, like, all right, let's go out there and put up a good showing here. Let's still show that maybe we can go on a run, especially with Mike Sullivan. Like, they brought him in to win now, and they're just suddenly going into this retool here.
That's a shame.
It really is a shame of what's happening there, up north in the Rangers. But yeah, like, the Flyers are one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the Metro for this season and looking forward. You got the Hurricanes. The Islanders look good now and for the future with Schaefer and all their prospects they have. But the Penguins are fading. The Rangers are fading. The Capitals might have one last hurrah. The Devils, who knows what's going on there? They're really struggling as well. And Columbus just made a coaching change. So like,
Jack Hughes just keeps finding like weird ways to get horribly hurt.
Yeah, I heard he went to an escape room and twisted his ankle or something last night.
They put him in a padded room and he got a concussion. It's the damnedest thing. But like, no, I agree with you. I think like it's important to look at the long term, because this was never going to be a Stanley Cup team this year. And I think it's important to remind ourselves of that, as depressing as that is. It just wasn't going to happen this year. No. I still would like to see the Flyers make some moves, like to maybe compete for the future. I'm looking at you, Robert Thomas. Would love some.
Well, he's on the IR now. He's on the IR now.
Is he? I didn't see that. Goddamn.
Yeah, is on the IR, and the Lightning are in St. Louis tonight, so that should be another big win for Tampa Bay. But,
oh man, I'm glad you told me that. I'm going over to FanDuel and I am going to pop down how much money? I don't know. The odds can't be good. Like, I can't imagine.
You can get a FanDuel Lightning are minus 200 right now, but on the puck line, plus 128 for Lightning to win by at least 2, which I feel like they can do that. I would take that if you're.
I'm doing that. I'm doing that for sure. That's great odds over on FanDuel for that one. But like, yeah, I mean, I like the Flyers moving forward. The Tocchet of it all, I think, is one of the hardest things to parse out here, because, you know, when you look at the first couple of months of the season, you really do look at it and you have to give Rick Tocchet credit. You have to say, like, he's done a good job. The teams look better. They look cohesive. They look like they're having fun out there. But this is where the hard coaching work really comes into play. And we've already seen Tocchet kind of get testy with the media and such over some of the stuff. Like, he got real testy about Mishkov a couple weeks ago. He clearly does not like getting questioned about Mishkov. And I think we're all super frustrated, I think mostly by how he's handled Mishkov to this point. And I think seeing him with Barkey was a nice change of pace. I want to see him open things up for Mishkov more. I think the style of play has not helped him at all. And if this team is going to score some damn goals, you need, I would say, Matvei Mishkov, even though he's having a really rough sophomore slump, he might be your best goal scorer nonetheless, because he's just, the man has a nose for the puck when he is like at his best. And it was so great. The only good thing that happened in that Pittsburgh game was seeing Matvei Mishkov score a good goal, not an empty netter, not even like, and I love his sloppy around the net goals, but like this was a pure goal scorer goal. And I want to see more of that. Great feed from Barkey. I would like to see it. I like seeing him play with like a tenacious guy on the other side. I think that's been the number one great thing we've seen about Denver Barkey since he's been up, is that tenacity. Denver Barkey is a guy who gets to the corners, even though he's a small guy. He's just a little guy.
Just a little guy. Just a little guy out there.
Just a little guy. But he gets in there, man. He is not scared. No man scares Denver Barkey. And he just gets into the corner. He mucks it up. He'll get that puck over. Great feed, too. AHL All-Star Denver Barkey, we have to mention.
Would you say Denver Barkey is a little buff boy by chance?
Little buff boys, huffing and puffing. Yeah, he's 100% a little buff boy. He is our little buff boy. We got to get that on a t-shirt ASAP, and like the muscle suit. Oh, I'm all about the little buff boy Denver Barkey. No, I love Barkey. I like when Mishkov gets to play with like, because, you know, when we were looking at it earlier this year, it was like, well, I want him playing with some talent and everything. Maybe it's the opposite. Like maybe we really need to work towards people who can make space for Mishkov, people who can really put him in a position to score, where like Barkey's good for that. I like when I've seen him with Grabenkin a couple times this season too. Yeah. Because Grabenkin's a guy who can really get in there and muck things up and make space. And he's a big old body. So yeah, maybe it isn't putting him with Zegras. Maybe it isn't putting him with, you know, a talent guy like Owen Tippett. Maybe it's all about putting him together with a guy who can make some space.
Yes. Yeah. He was playing well with Brink before Brink got hurt on that line with Noah Cates. And Denver Barkey definitely looks like the type of player that could play with Mishkov. Because like Barkey pushes the play forward, but he doesn't need the puck on his stick. Mishkov can have the puck. And I don't mind Couturier there in the center. Like, just have Couturier with his slow legs at this point in his career, stay in the middle of the ice, stay in front of the net on both ends of the rink, and let Michkov work his magic on the edge there. We saw, I think Michkov and Couturier were good with Konechny last year. Tippett is a good one as well for his speed, but I think Couturier works with Barkey. Barkey was a healthy scratch, of course, in Buffalo. He definitely looked recharged in Pittsburgh on Thursday night. So good decision there by Tocchet to get Barkey a little bit of a reset there. But yeah, there's not.
I didn't like Barkey getting scratched either. I did not care for that decision, and I mean maybe it was the right decision because he bounced back. You know, we always look back at the Torts era and we're like how hard he was on Cam York, but ultimately Cam York's probably a better player for how he went through all that. He doesn't have the offensive touch, which is super frustrating, but that's a whole other story. But Mishkov's the big story with Tocchet. You know, I think Tocchet's done a lot of good things, but his handling of Mishkov to this point has been abysmal, and Mishkov's conditioning has been abysmal. So that's my big second half story is Matvei Mishkov. It's like
it has to be. It has to be.
Yeah. If he can take that rest time, really work on his game with the coaching staff, really work on his conditioning and come out strong, I will sing Rick Tocchet's praises all day if Matvei Mishkov looks like Matvei Mishkov in the second half. But, you know, to this point, I mean, the big thing is like their offense is all centered around Trevor Zegras at this point. And if Zegras isn't getting those points, then the team's really not producing. And that's if this team's going to succeed for the next few years, a lot of it's going to have to be depth-based. Because the centers are not going to be there, even if they do like get like a Robert Thomas or somebody like that. Yeah. The centers they're still going to be a problem, at least until you can get one of the prospects that hopefully work out, which is a big if, but like, you know,
and their ceilings are probably like a 3C. So like you have to have a center fall into your lap, which is tough now that you have
one of those guys is going to be
Couturier and Cates. Like maybe Cates will you move to the wing or you deal him in a trade for a center. But yeah, it's all Zegras. He leads the team with 42 points. Konechny has 39 points. That line looked good together, him, Zegras, and Dvorak, but it does look like that line has been broken up. And Konechny is definitely banged up once again. He took that puck off his knee in practice. He said he couldn't feel his leg.
Oh, awesome.
At least
Love to hear that.
At least he's not going to be at Team Canada, so he'll have that few weeks off for the Olympics, as will Michkov. But we were discussing this in the Slack today. I'm not sure if you were active in this conversation.
Dude, the Slack has been like unhinged for weeks now. It's really hard to keep. Ever since the Dvorak contract, the Slack has just been like insane.
We've got off. Yeah. So the discussion was about if players that are AHL eligible can go down to the AHL during the Olympic break. Like, and is that something you think the Flyers would consider with Michkov if they're allowed, or would you rather have him like doing his off-season training in Voorhees, resting up, Flyers having their hands on him for those 3 weeks, rather than having him go to the Lehigh Valley and play with Lane Peterson and maybe seeing some like goons down there taking shots at him?
I would rather him practice with the team. And like, specifically my big thing is I want him learning Tocchet's system inside and out, and Tocchet looking at these strengths and like trying to figure out the best way to utilize it. Like, I think as they understand each other, the familiarity comes in. Cause I really think a lot of it's been system based this year, like adjusting to a new system after learning an NHL system for the first time ever. I think a lot of that has his head spinning right now. I think that's really tough to do all that as a young guy. Cause like I can barely learn new work stuff in a few weeks, let alone like I have to learn an entirely new hockey system. So
and language,
language is a huge barrier too. And again, like there's a maturity issue. The guy's 21.
Yeah.
Like so it's interesting to send him to Lehigh Valley, but me personally, like I would rather him work with the current coaching staff. And I don't like the goon factor. I don't like, I like some of the talent down there, obviously, because, I like, a good amount of the prospect pool, but like, I don't know. I don't love the idea. Like in theory, it sounds good to get him playing time, but
I get him confidence going.
Yeah. But I would rather him if he gets confidence in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, like I'm real happy about that. And I think I'm hoping that goal against Pittsburgh is the start of something. I know we've said this a few times, but like he really is not. This is his second goal in the past like month or something like that. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing that you can build on, and just, dude, go out and destroy the Rangers. Like that will just make everything feel so much better. If you can destroy the Rangers, put up a good showing against Vegas, eke out a win in Utah. And then I don't give a shit about Colorado. I wish I could just simulate the game in Colorado and bypass it, because it sounds bad to me. And you just get to that week where it's the Islanders, Blue Jackets, Bruins, and Kings. Like that week, I feel like is almost more of a telling of what this team is than the next week, because just next week sucks. Road trip sucks to start with, let alone road trips against really good teams.
Yeah, and that week does have another road back-to-back in Columbus and Boston, which will be a major issue, even if Vladar is healthy. Like, even if it is Vladar and if Erson's still around for those two, we will. That's still going to be tough because the Flyers are not good on back-to-backs. They just haven't been. But yeah, getting Michkov the confidence, like going to the AHL for like a few games and getting the confidence sounds good, but I don't know even if he can hang out with the NHL team during the break. I don't know if there's like those rules where they can't hold practice or anything. I would have to look into that, but I feel like
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, but just let him do his own thing. Like let him do the thing with the team. Don't put him in any game action where he could potentially get hurt there, because that would be the absolute worst. Is he has a sophomore slump, then you can get hurt in the NHL too, obviously, but getting hurt in truly meaningless AHL games, that could potentially hamper his offseason training going into a big year.
So who wants to, no offense to Allentown, but who really wants to hang out in Allentown for a few weeks if you have the choice?
You got Kolosov up now, so he can tell him all about that and not have him to go. Would you go?
I will say he's been a much better soldier this year than he was last year.
Yes. Do you go with Erson or Kolosov to start Saturday against the Rangers?
Oh, I gotta go Sam Erson, unfortunately, and I hate it, but
you have to, right?
I think this is a must win, so you kind of have to. But like, man, I know we've talked it to death, but it's just unbelievable, his numbers this year. Like, I think we're finally past the point of saying he's been better than the numbers. It is funny. I'm working on a piece. I'm working on a little writing piece for Broad Street Hockey, having some fun with that with that saying that he's better than the numbers. But like when you look at save percentage, right? With I'm looking right now at guys who have played 14 or more games, dead last in save percentage, 853. The guys who are above him, everybody's above him, but the names immediately above him: Frederick Anderson, Levi Muralainen, Jordan Bennington, and Cal Pickard.
Jordan Bennington, he could be a future Flyer. Keep
Could
an
be.
eye out for that. Everyone's going to love when I
Robert
write
Thomas,
that up.
I'm fine with it because he's a nut.
Yes, Sam Ersson in his last 9 games, 1-6-2, 836 save percentage, allowed 32 goals in that span. The only game allowing fewer than, 2 goals against Buffalo, but that was in relief. He had 1 goal against that Blackhawks game. But besides that, 3-7-5, 4-4-3, and 3.
Maybe talk me into it. Maybe Kolosov's the way to go.
But like if you don't start Sam Ersson in that game, you are signaling to every team around the league, we don't trust this guy. I'm sure they're trying to shop him around to try to swap him to somewhere that will give Ersson the change of scenery and leash that he needs to be a backup, to see if he can find his game in a new system. Like, that's what I'm hoping for, is like an Ersson for some veteran backup swap trade at some point. But at the same time, if you put Ersson in there, he allows 2 goals in the first 3 shots in the first 5 minutes. You're down 2-0 to the Rangers. Like that, I'm sure the building is going to be half Rangers fans anyway.
Ugh.
But you have
to
get
we
going.
Got to sort this out, by the way. Like, I don't know if the Flyers have to do a promotion for like half off for Flyers fans to these games or something, but the Flyers got to step up and give out free tickets in the streets of South Philadelphia.
Do something.
Anything, just non-transferable free tickets. Okay. It's like, you're showing up or you're not going. Like, nobody else is getting this ticket. I'd rather have it empty.
Yeah, we got a comment here from NM Stack 78 in the chat here. You guys are always super positive and optimistic. I don't know how you do it, but Ersson sucks. He just does. We completely agree. Ersson does suck. I will say that he still does look better than his numbers show. He's a very handsome man, but his numbers are not good.
I mean, I was complimenting your flow before the game, but like, he's got unbelievable flow as well. By the game, I mean the podcast. But
well, this is our game, Steve. This is where we put it all out there. But yeah, the Rangers, you have to get the offense going against them. Their last games, 8 goals allowed, 8-4 loss, 4-2 loss, 10-2 loss, 5-2 loss, 3-2 overtime loss. They had that win in the Winter Classic because somehow they win every outdoor game they're in. But even before
Florida took that night off too. They were just like too distracted by the weirdness of having an outdoor game in the Marlins Stadium.
Yeah. Like what are we doing here? Then 6-3 loss Washington, 3-2, 2-0. Like, the Flyers have to win this game. They can't blow it again like they did last month in that 5-4 shootout loss. Like,
are we expecting Quick to start that game?
I mean, it would have to be. I don't know.
Who I can't believe is still in the league, by the way.
I don't even know who their backup is now with Shesterkin hurt. I would
Quick is 40 years old.
I would think it has to be Quick.
Yeah. Quick this season, 887 save percentage, 313 GAA, looking like a real over game right now. I mean, Ersson, you just have to, unfortunately. Like, it sucks, but you kind of just have to roll with him. Man, I really hate this position. Even if you roll with Kolosov next year, I just don't think you can run Sam Ersson back out there as Flyers goaltender ever again.
You're not running with Kolosov next year. I think Kolosov gets another AHL year next year. They get another veteran or something in the offseason. Goaliepost.com has Kolosov as probable. I'm not sure what that is based off of. But yeah, Kolosov he's not shrinking into his crease there. Like, he's at least showing a little bit. He's standing upright in the crease, like he's tracking the play. And he can't be worse than Ersson. But I guess the downside is, if Kolosov,
he can, though, is the worst. He can. We saw him last year be worse than Ersson.
Yeah, but that's why the Flyers need to trade for a goalie. They cannot let goaltending be what undoes them once again. Like 2 years ago, when they had the Felix Sandstrom show, the Cal Peterson show cost them crucial points in February and March. That was fine. They were very much early in the rebuild year that year. But this year, and I think is a bigger question, is like, this year they're trying to turn the corner. And I'm going back and forth on if this was a year too early And in the back of my mind is the fact that the Flyers have tied their longest drought without making the playoffs. And like, I'm sure Briere and Jones and all those guys don't want to be at the helm when this team breaks the record for the most years consecutively without making the playoffs. So I don't know if that's impacting them at all, but like the whole like getting Tocchet this year instead of getting a younger coach, the extending Dvorak instead of selling at the deadline. Like it's all like, okay, they're trying to take that step forward and they might make the playoffs because the conference and division is bad. But is this the right step for this new era of Orange, or is it just once again going too quick too soon?
I mean, I'm okay with the pace just because I think they've got a nice set of prospects. Like, obviously, you want a center in there.
Do
and
they?
I would,
I mean, Porter
I think they
Martone.
do.
Porter Martone is a top chip prospect. Absolutely.
Well, and
Jack Berglund has looked good at World Juniors.
Porter Martone accounts for a lot of it, in my opinion. Porter Martone
Porter Martone.
Here's the thing. What I keep pointing out, and I think people like to ignore this, but like they have a really good young set of guys for the top six right now. Between Trevor Zegras counts, okay? Let's stop discounting Trevor Zegras in there. Trevor Zegras is young as shit, okay? Trevor Zegras, Tyson Forrester, Matvei Mishkov, and Porter Martone. Those are all top six guys potentially for this team that's stacked. They have some really good potential lower guys. The big problem is the center. The defense is all pretty young for the most part too, with the exception of like Ristolainen.
Jamie Drysdale's 23. Drysdale's
Right.
23. That's crazy. Yeah.
That's the thing is like we talk about, there's a lot of guys that are here now that can still grow with the team. It's still a pretty young team. There's a lot of tinkering that has to be done. This team's never going to outright tank though. Get that out of your mind. It's not going to happen. So you're working with what you have. I think the biggest problem for this team is that nobody goes free agency anymore. If you could get guys in free agency with the cap going up, you could have a field day and not have to worry about these like lower franchises. I'm not being elitist here, but like franchises that don't have as much money, you can just outbid them for guys. But guys don't even go to free agency to get outbid for anymore. Connor McDavid could have had a record NHL contract this offseason, and instead he's like, I'm going to sign this 2-year deal and come on, Connor, come get paid. Papa Comcast wants to pay you a lot of money to play hockey for the Philadelphia Flyers. Yeah. Come and make that bank, son. But like, nobody wants to get paid in the NHL. Nobody wants to work anymore. Gilbs. I almost called you Quakes. But like, it sucks. Like, but you have a lot of good toys in the toy box. You do need more.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going too quick too soon, but like, I don't want to trade major assets for like a goaltender this year, even though it's like, do I have to? But like, I don't want to trade it major assets for goaltender. The only thing I would trade major assets for is maybe a more top line defenseman, but center's the bigger thing. Like, I will take as many Flyers, no pun intended, on centers as possible.
I am removing myself from committing to the bit right now with Christian Dvorak, but truly signing Christian Dvorak removed all flexibility they had at that position. I feel like before that, you could be like, okay, they'll trade, they can move for this guy, but they have Couturier. That contract is not being moved. He has a no move clause. They have
that
Dvorak.
Would make a difference with the Dvorak thing. I feel like for a lot of people is if they didn't have Couturier signed until the end of time, because it's not that they're redundant players necessarily, but like Dvorak is just such an unexciting, like regular ass center.
Yeah, You have Couturier, you have Cates. They're all the same guy. You had Ryan Palin, you had Scott Long. It's all the same mold.
Dvorak wins faceoffs, and he can play more than some of those guys. But like Cates, I love Noah Cates, but like again, a
3C. He's a 3C.
He's a 3C. I mean, Dvorak can play. I would trust him as like a 2C, but like him as your 1C is not great. But like I like Dvorak. I'm fine with it. Again, I've said this numerous times. I'll say it again. I was fine with a 3-year deal. I think it's 2 years too many. Yep. I still don't understand that aspect of it, but okay. He might just be a really expensive 3 or 4C at the end of it, and that's I guess okay. But like,
the cap is going up. Like if they're competing and Christian Dvorak is a effective bottom 6 center, like that's fine. Like you need those guys on your
the
team.
Bigger problem is the modern NHL. Like it's just hard to get centers anymore, and it's just like, how do you do it? and the Flyers are trying to find a cheat code to just get elite wingers and just do it that way. And bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it works. And it is hard to remain optimistic with all of this, but at the same time, like you see Martone be captain of Team Canada. You see him score from some crazy side angles. You see the goals he puts up at Michigan State. So like, I feel great about Martone. And I think if Mishkov was having a better second season, not, like how Celebrini went in the offseason and upgraded, and Celebrini's now elite all of a sudden. Like, I'm not asking for Mishkov to have been elite this season, but if Mishkov was closer to what Zegras is doing, I would feel much better. And I feel like that just has everybody a little bit more down. Because if you're thinking of it as you have very, very, very great talent in Martone and Mishkov, then I feel like people don't feel as bad about the future. But I feel like because Mishkov is struggled like he has and is not getting along with the coach, it's not that they're not getting along, but there's something.
There's cross wires between like Tocchet wants to play his system and Michkov needs to play his own way. Like Michkov is the type of player that you put your system to him. You don't put him in your system. Like he's not a system quarterback. You let him do his own thing out there. And I think,
and to John Tortorella's credit, John Tortorella realized that and let him cook.
Yeah. And I think you can, if he's on a line like he is now with a hard to working fast enough player like Barkey and a responsible center, which is all the Flyers have. Like, I don't think you need him with Zegras or with Tippett or with Konechny necessarily. Let Michkov be the guy on his line. Let him fly the zone and let Couturier take the down low stuff. Like, let him do that. And
let him be like Mike. Let Mike be like Mike.
And I thought when you said Zegras is young as hell, I thought you were going to say like Michkov is he's not a prospect, but he's still 21 years old. He wasn't supposed to be here yet. Like,
he's not even supposed to be here today.
He's not supposed to be here. He's supposed to be here. Yeah. And like, every young player goes through these struggles at some point. And if he's going through these struggles when the Flyers are still above 500 and competing and have Zegras carrying this team, like there are definitely worse things to happen. It's just, this can't be the start of, okay, he's bad next year again. Or even like, I feel like after the Olympic break, he has to turn it on. He has to not be like a point per game player, but be like a 0.75 point per game player. Like he has to turn it on.
I also want to see Tocchet and the coaching staff like maybe come back with a better understanding of this team, because this is all new for everybody, right? Like they come in, they're learning about each other, they're developing the system. Like this is a real test for who this team is coming back in the second half. Like if they make the playoffs, I feel pretty good about the next few years of Flyers hockey. But if they wilt like they did 2 years ago or 3 years, I forget how long it was since they had
2 years ago.
What a long 2 years it's been. Good Lord. But like 2 years ago, it felt like they were building something. It felt like they were progressing. And if they had made the playoffs, I think people would have felt better, but they didn't. They wilted and they fell apart. And they fell apart when they had a pretty easy March, like, which drove me nuts because you looked at the schedule and was like, well, they should make the playoffs easy. Mm-hmm. And they lost some horrific, they lost to the Blackhawks, who are openly tanking that season for Bedard. Yeah. So like, it was super frustrating to watch all that. And if they collapse again, and look, it's not easy sledding, but they have 3 weeks off. They don't have a lot of guys going to the Olympics. The guys who are going probably are not playing a ton. Rodrigo Abels will probably play the most of any Flyers Olympian.
There is one major issue. Dan Vladar. Dan Vladar is probably going to start for Czechia. It's him or Dostal.
Oh, is he going to start?
He might start. Like
okay, trade for goalie. I'm in now.
Yeah, that is the one thing with Vladar is like he's already getting a big workload here, and he's going to the Olympics. Well, where he'll probably push through what he can to play for his country. Like that's one of the factors, which is why I want to trade for a goalie so badly, because he has not started 30 games since like the ECHL year. But yeah, it's.
Maybe we need to fake a wristo injury to like get him to not start those games, because I don't want him to start those.
You
games.
Mean Vladar? You mean Vladar? Yeah. Well, Risto's injured again. Apparently,
that's what I'm saying. They pull a wristo on Vladar,
Yeah.
No, I
Or,
risk those
or
injuries have all been real because
pull
he's
like you
gone
got to
for like
pull you got to
months and you don't
pull
know where he is.
pull a Ryan Johansson if you
Yeah.
remember him. Remember that going on
Oh,
with the
yeah,
Flyers
Mr.
there. Yeah.
Contract termination. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like whatever you got to do, let's just fake this injury with Vladar so he can rest up because yeah, I don't like the idea of him starting those games. Or let's hope for Czechia to get eliminated nice and early because we need a rested Vladar because he's been the biggest difference maker because the Flyers goaltending, like the Flyers last year, you look at that team, you go, they're not good, but like they would have been much better if they had gotten even like mediocre goaltending.
Yeah.
And you've seen that this year because the team changed some stuff, mainly Dvorak and Trevor Zegras, but like they didn't change enough that they should have seen that drastic a swing in the standings. And then most of it's been Dan Vladar. Dan Vladar getting an actual goaltender who can keep you in the game and give you like a chance to win has been such a difference maker after seeing Fedotov, Kolosov, and Eriksson last year. And I'm looking, so Vladar right now, he's hanging on at 905 save percentage. It was over 910 for most of the
That's all
season.
we need. That's all we need. 900. Give me 900.
Past few weeks have kind of chipped away at it, but it's still holding tight at 905. And if he can stay up there above 900, I'm very happy. But yeah, I am worried about the workload for him. And look, he's one of those guys he's in his prime right now, right? He's 28. He's a guy in his prime. He's playing the best hockey of his life. I would like to see him continue doing that because if he can post a 900 plus for the rest of the season, the Flyers probably make the playoffs. But he's going to play a lot of games because it's Sam Ersson, man. Like, why do you do this to us? Why do you have to do this to us? Why do you have to be bad?
Why do you have to be bad? Good comment here from NM Stack 78 again. Vemelka from Utah is also a Czech goalie there, and he's been stellar recently. So hopefully he takes some of the important starts from Vladar there. Because yeah, Vladar, 875 save percentage in January, 905 in December, 894 in November, 939 to start the year there in October. Like he needs some time to rest up and get ready there because the past few seasons, this team has been decent. We said, okay, get league average goaltending, get a league average power play, and this team can make the playoffs. And this power play right now is anything but league average.
The power play is such a mess. And one of the things that I think we don't consider a ton when we talk about this team just being as bad as they were down the stretch, because like they were kind of mediocre for like the first half of the season. They were real bad down the stretch. And a lot of that was Konechny and Sanheim playing in the Four Nations tournament. Mm-hmm. And Konechny for the second half of the season was a different guy.
Well, he came out and said, like, yeah, I emptied the tank for Four Nations because I knew we weren't making the playoffs. Like, he said that. Yeah,
exactly. So, like, I don't know. I just don't want, I even emptying the tank, like, I want to see these guys as well rested as possible. And considering that they can't score on the power play, they really, in general, like the goal scoring just needs to be more. You just need more. You got to maximize who you have.
Put the puck in the net. Put the puck in the net.
But the power play stuff is like, so, because it looked like they were past it. And it really must have been Tyson Forrester was a lot of it because that unit, which was basically the Cates Brink Forrester line plus Zegras and maybe York at times.
I think it was out of York or Drysdale there.
That unit was awesome, but the other unit couldn't put it together at all. And this is where I'm looking at Tocchet. This is where I'm looking at that coaching staff. And like, they better be watching all the tape on this team during the break and just figuring things out because, well, is Tocchet in the coaching staff? I forget offhand.
Tocchet is the coaching staff. So
he's not going to get to think about this at all.
So you need Todd Reardon and Yogi and all those guys.
Todd Packer Reardon. I have to put my faith in him going in, and Todd Packer's an office character who Todd Reardon looks like, but I'm just being baldest. But like I mean, there's such good hair on this podcast right now. I mean, sorry to all the bald guys out there.
To interrupt you here, with Tyson Forster of it all, he scored a power play goal in his final game of the season before getting hurt in that one against the Penguins.
I think he hurt himself shooting a puck on the power play.
Yeah, after that. December 3rd, the next game, they went 2 for 5 against the Sabres. Since then, in 20 games, they are 6 for 58, which is 10%. 10% on the power play and 2 of them came in one game against the Rangers. So maybe the Rangers is where you can get this power play back on track. But Steve, like, what do you want the top? Do you want it to be like a very top heavy top unit and let them go for 90 seconds? Do you want to have two split units? I guess the biggest question is do you want Zegras and Michkov together on a unit?
I'm okay with it if they can figure out who's going to control and shoot the puck. Because what seems to be the problem when those two get together is it becomes pass-a-thon. And somebody has that was what Tyson Forrester was really good at, was knowing when to shoot the damn puck. And he was one of the only guys who was big. Like, I want to see, like, I don't know if I want to see Grebenkin out there necessarily, but like, I feel like this team desperately needs to screen the goalie more and try to shoot through the wickets a little bit more, because like, I just feel like they're passing to the outside too much. They're not getting enough penetration inside. And it drives you insane to watch all that, because like, this team's pretty good at 5-on-5 for the most part, because they can score on the rush and stuff like that. Well, they don't get as much rushes with the Tocchet system as they did under the Torch system, but regardless, like, they just seem to not know what they're doing when they have an extra man.
Yeah.
And I'm looking right now at the stats. So Forrester had 41 shots in 21 games played. So he's basically averaging like 2 shots a game. So, you know, like, Forrester was a guy who knew to shoot the puck a lot. He had really good instincts for it. And I feel like their positioning was so much better set with him in there than it is now, where I just don't, they need to find the roles better. And I like the idea of Michkov and Zegras together in theory, but every time I've seen it together, they just don't seem to know who wants to carry the puck. And it doesn't seem like there's that decisiveness, where when you had the Cates line with Zegras, it always felt like they would get Zegras on the outside for like a one-timer blast or something like that. Or, you know, Forrester, I felt like had I'd have to watch the tape, but like, I felt like Forrester had a very clearly defined role and really was the glue on that one. I feel like the problem, like, you need to get like a cohesive unit, just one cohesive unit.
Yes.
And I don't care who's on it as long as they are playing within the system properly. This is the coach.
But what is the power play system? There is no power play system.
That's the thing. And what's the power play coach doing?
Well, that's why
a question for the last 10 years of Flyers hockey.
That's why I want them to put.
Actually, no, I'm not gonna disgrace Joe Mullen like this. Joe Mullen was the last time they had a cohesive power play.
Yeah, but so I want a 5-man unit together. Keep them together. You're not getting much practice time to practice it. Sometimes you only get a minute on the ice together on the power play, and you know, sometimes you don't even get set up. Like, so you're going to need multiple games to gain chemistry. I want Zegras out there. I want Michkov out there. I want Tippett out there. So if there is some sort of rush the other way, he can speed back, and he can shoot. Tippett can shoot too. Drysdale at the point, I think, would be ideal. Dvorak out there to win the faceoff and be in front.
I'll tell you what.
That's fine.
I will give Rick
you have to have Konechny. You have to have Konechny on the top unit.
I'll give Rick Tocchet a major award if he can figure out how to use Tippett on the power play and have him be effective, because Tippett's power play numbers are just insane for a player of his talent. Like, I don't get it. The guy's fast. The guy can shoot. How does he not score ever on the power play?
Yeah, give it to him. Let him be a one-man zone entry on the power play. And if the defense collapses on him, he should have options available with a 5-on-4 advantage. You should be able to put the puck into space and win a battle. And that's been a big thing in this losing streak, is go into a corner and win a battle.
Yeah.
Outnumber the guys, win a battle. I saw Charlie O'Connor, I think it was on Blue Sky. Someone would ask, like, oh, is losing battles a skill issue or a size issue? And Charlie quoted, he said, neither. It's a compete issue. And that's the most frustrating thing for the Flyers. Yeah.
Well, especially because we know we have guys who can have that compete in them. They have guys who do have that dog in them sometimes, like Travis Konechny in particular. When Travis Konechny's good, he got that dog in him. He is in the corner barking at people. He is like just tenacious. Same with Matvei Michkov. When Matvei Michkov is really good, Matvei Michkov is in the corners, like barking at people and like getting chippy. And Trevor Zegras, even, we've seen that with. So I think maybe, are they tired? I don't know. They've played less games than a lot of these teams. I hope they're not tired. And Yeah, I agree with you. It has not been there, especially I wanted to see that in the Sabres game. I wanted to see them come out and like just really kick some ass in that game. And I guess maybe Vladar getting hurt really threw a monkey wrench in that, but
Yeah.
I would like to see them win those puck battles more often. And I think Barkey's a guy who can do that. I like Barkey a lot for that. You
Yes.
got no more of this Delorier crap either. Like, I wish you
No.
could just eject him from the team because, like,
No.
hey, I have heard Nick Delorier is the best guy and he's fun in the locker room. The guy cannot play modern hockey. He just can't. He is
No.
a goon from the early 2000s. He just not, he ain't it. And I'm tired of seeing him in the lineup playing 6 minutes a night and spending
Yeah.
half of that,
Yeah.
in the box for a fight that didn't energize the team or anything.
Yeah, the Delorier thing, it frustrates me, especially when guys are banged up and like you might have to play your fourth line more. Like you're just tiring your other 11 forwards out when Delorier is one of the 12 out there. But so I'm looking on daily faceoff of what the power play unit was last night. First unit, Konechny, Dvorak, Zegras, Drysdale, and Tippett. I would just replace Tippett with Michkov on that unit and see how that does. And then second
I'm cool
unit
with that.
is Gurbenkin, Cates, Michkov, which will be Tippett now, Barkey, and York. I don't like Barkey on the power play. I don't think he's a type of player that should be on the power play, but also I don't know who else I would put there. So let him go into the corner and win some battles if we're resulting in relying on dump and chase on the power play.
Can we fast forward one of those big wingers from the last draft to like
Can we get like
play
Shane
now?
just get Vinsagi up here? Briere mentioned him that he may be a few months away along with Martone when he mentioned he was
Man,
on Flyers Daily. Like get him up
that's
here,
the
get in
thing.
front of the net. Like
If I need this team to make the playoffs just because I need to see what this team looks like Martone. That's like my silver lining right there is I have such good feelings about him and everything he can do for the power play, everything he can do for 5-on-5. And it just, again, like the dude's a leader. The guy's a winner. Like, I really like Porter Martone, and I think this team is going to be so good with him. And I think it's going to change a lot of attitudes if they get to see him with the team. It'll brighten a lot of people's days because people, they want to believe, right? They want to believe in the Flyers, but it's hard because this team has not had a significant playoff run. And I'm not counting 2020 because that was weird as hell. They haven't had a significant playoff run since 2010. And 2012 doesn't count. 2012 doesn't count because they lost in the second round to damn Devils. All right. Let's stop glorifying 2012 because it had one of the most fun playoff series of all time. They lost in the second round and it sucked.
We have to hang on to something, Steve. We have to hang on.
I'm hanging on to
2010
because 2010 was legit. 2010 was a team that had a great mix of in their prime talent and young up and comers that banded together, and one wise old veteran in Chris Pronger that banded together and made a great run and almost pulled out the damn thing. And if I don't want to talk about the Richards Carter, all that, I've talked about it enough. I can't get into it.
Yeah.
But like people talk about 2012, like that was a great, and it was a good team. But like
it was
that
good,
team
it was a good
lost,
series. It was a good series.
That team lost in the second round. They have not had a significant run since 2010. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what they need to get back to. But like a lot of that 2010 team was built on depth. That team had like three great lines they could roll out there. They had two really good defensive pairs. They had one complete garbage defensive pairing that they couldn't throw out there at all, which sucked. That's actually one thing. This team has more defensive depth somehow because it's got a third pair that is not like the worst thing in the world if they're out there. I don't know, man. Like, I think there's good things here, but it's kind of like, it's messy. Like, it's messy.
There's good things and they have depth, but only if they stay healthy. Like if there's a few injuries, they don't have the guys ready in the AHL ready to come up and fill those gaps. Luckily, Barkey has been ready somehow, but Alex Bump is now hurt. He's not going to be coming up anytime soon. But Brink hopefully comes back some point. Like he's not an important piece. He's not one of the most important players, but he's a good third line guy that kind of solidifies everything. Like seeing Carl Grundstrom love Carl, but he should not be playing anywhere besides the fourth line. Like when
Carl
he was
is
on
a fourth line player.
Yeah, like when he was in the middle six against the Lightning, I was like, all right, what are we doing? What are we doing here? So
that was some real Chris Van de Velde, like Matt Reed stuff right there.
Yeah. Hey, don't put Chris Van de Velde in the same spread as Matt Reed.
I'm just kidding. I love Matt Reed. Michael Raffl is who I meant to say.
I like Michael Raffl too.
But Michael Raffl,
he's not a first line.
Michael Raffl's actually the perfect comparison here because Michael Raffl was a bottom six player that they frequently would try higher up in the lineup, and that was not where he belonged. Michael Raffl got a lot of shit for being a guy who played on the second or first line when he shouldn't have been. Michael Raffl is a good fourth line player, and I think he was a great fourth line player, a good third line player, and should never play on the second or first. And I feel the same way about Grundstrom. Grundstrom is a great fourth line player, an okay third line player. No for top six. Just don't do it.
I made that comparison to Gulbenkian earlier this year, and I feel like that's a pretty apt one.
Gulbenkian's right there too.
Gulbenkian
should not play.
I love him on the third line, on the fourth line. When you got that gag line together, the Grundstrom Marbles, I was all about it with Gulbenkian on that fourth line. But I'm looking at, I have Daily Faceoff open here. It has the top line Gulbenkian, Dvorak, Konechny, and that's just not it. It's just not it.
Gulbenkian's one of those guys. He's like a missile out there, right? Like if you aim him, it could be pretty effective, but like you have to be pretty precise in your aiming. Yeah. He's just like a Tasmanian devil, right? Like he's a wild man, and I wish he had a little bit more hockey sense because I feel like with his size and speed, if he had better hockey sense, he could be a really good player. But it's just not there, and he's one of those guys. You look at him, you're like, I understand why the Leafs were willing to throw him in on the deal. Now, why they gave him up with a first round pick with Scott Laughton, I'll never understand. Yeah. And I don't care about Scott Laughton getting his revenge. It's still an insane deal. But Gulbenkian, like the Leafs knew what he was. I think the Flyers know what he is. He is a bottom six player. But when he plays above it, you're like, don't do this. Don't do this. And like I did float him on the power play, but that's because the Flyers have terrible
net front. Yeah, you just got to put someone net front. Like
you got to put someone net. You got to piss off that other goalie, and they don't do that. Like piss off that goalie, get in his face, distract him. John LeClaire, Wayne Simmons, it worked for those guys.
Bring Wayne Simmons back. Like if Philip Rivers can do it, bring Wayne Simmons back.
He gets a paycheck. Like just
Patrick Sharp.
I don't care if he's just standing there. Like just have him like.
Make him the power play coach. Make him the power play coach. Have him show up on the bench once in a while. Get the guys going. Like
Alex Ovechkin stands in the circle and blasts the puck, and he makes a career out of it. Why can't Wayne Simmons just stand in front of the goalie?
Yeah. They have to figure out something on the power play.
Yeah. But that's the big key to the second half.
Yeah.
They got to score some damn goals, and you can't be getting games where you have 8 power play opportunities and you capitalize once. That's nuts. It's not a good way to make the playoffs. And if you're making the playoffs, you got to score in the damn power play, especially when you play rat kind of hockey like the Flyers do. The Flyers draw a lot of penalties because they're pests. And I like that they're pests. But the thing is, to be an effective pest team, you got to capitalize on it. So come on, boys, let's capitalize on it.
Yeah, it only matters. Teams are only pissed off going to the box if they're like, oh, God, this team's going to score on me. And it was so fun. There's first few weeks of the season, be like, all right, we're on the power play. Let's see what they can do here. Let's get excited. And now it's like, oh, God, the power play. Let's hope they don't allow a shorthanded goal. Let's see if they can get a shot on goal on this power play. And that's the big thing. Just get a unit together out there. If it's this top unit that's going on right now, Konechny, Dvorak, Zegras, Tippett, Drysdale, fine. I'd love Michkov in the top unit, but if they don't want them there, fine. Get the 5 guys together. Let them work for a few weeks. Give them until the Olympic break. See how it works. Stop changing up every few games what's going on, and hopefully find a few 5-on-5 lines too. Like that Couturier, Michkov, Barkey line looks good. I don't like Cates with Zegras and Tippett. I don't know how that really is going to work. Maybe put the Zegras, Dvorak, Tippett line back together, and you get Gulbenkian, Dvorak, Konechny. Maybe you get Brink back in one of these next few games. You get him in the lineup, but they have the depth. It's just once they get 2 or 3 injuries, you see why they're not quite there yet.
Yeah, I you can see it. Like it's a work in progress very much, but like it's frustrating, man. You really want it to, you want it all to come together. And there's just so many components to a tasty meal, but the chef isn't quite ready.
No. The oven's it's still preheating. You know how they always tell you to preheat the oven, and you never do. You just put it in too soon, and like it comes out not cooked right. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah,
The
you got to
Flyers.
follow the instructions on the box,
yeah,
and
yeah. You
they
can't
haven't,
rush.
and they're in the weeds right now.
Oh, you threw the box out. You don't know what's happening, but yeah,
Oh, that's
this
so stressful. I had some pasta I cooked the other night where we had thrown the packaging out, and I'm like, how long do I cook this for? And that's the Flyers.
that is the Flyers. I think that's a good note to start wrapping this thing up on here. Get the power play going. Get the power. Watch the power play get going. But the goaltending start to fall off, and like it's like the Flyers can't. You can only have 5-on-5 goaltending and power play. You can only have one of those three things for the Flyers.
We got to find like a Michael Leighton off the street or something to save this boat right now. Sink and ship.
They need something there. They need something, but it has to start with a win on Saturday against the
Beat
Rangers.
the Rangers' ass.
Yeah. Are you
ETA.
on? Are you on post game for that by chance?
I am on post game for that.
Nice.
In fact, I'm pretty much on post game for the next like week. So get used to this view right here because it's going to be a lot of this.
Yeah, and it's especially frustrating for us who we talk about the Flyers on a daily basis. We create content. Like we want to see this team succeed and make the playoffs. It's easy to be, more of a casual fan, take a back seat and be like, all right, let's wait till this team is actually good. But like, especially the timing of the Eagles getting eliminated. They had the big win against the Ducks and then just a complete letdown. Like, get back on track here. Get a few wins before the Olympic break and really get the mojo going again. Get feeling good about Flyers hockey in Philadelphia.
Yeah. We got the Phillies missed out on Bichette, right? The Sixers are a big enigma.
He's not that good.
Yeah, screw them. The Sixers are a big enigma. We're all depressed about the Eagles. Like, we need this, guys. We need some good Flyers hockey. We need some wins. Let's do it.
Once again, thanks to FanDuel for sponsoring the show here. They have the Flyers at -152 to beat the Rangers on Saturday afternoon. So hopefully that is correct there.
Follow a Mishkov goal in that game too. I'm liking a Mishkov goal. Let's go. Spicy.
And make sure you read and subscribe to BroadStreetHockey.com. Subscribe to the Broad Street Hockey YouTube channel and podcast feed, and follow us on Instagram at BroadStHockey. Steve, where can people follow you?
Well, I'm primarily on Blue Sky these days, so you can find me over at Flyperbole on there. It's Flyperbole on Instagram and TikTok as well.
Yeah, and you can follow me on Blue Sky at ryangilbert.bsky.social. And until next time, thanks for listening.